People who have came close to dying. What were your last thoughts? I was on my deathbed and I thought, man, I wish my mother was here. When I woke up in the ICU, she wasn't. Nor did she care. Edit. Thank you everyone for the internet kindness. It means a lot less than 3. Edit 2. You're all great people, and I very much appreciate all of the sub and mothers less than 3. Oh shit. My sister had to see me drown. I felt pretty calm about it though. Your shoe is untied. I said that to my dad before promptly falling down a 20-feet cliff into the underbrush. Broken arm. Fractured skull. Ruptured kidney. Woke up 2 weeks later to my dad saying thanks for letting him know his shoe was untied as he could have tripped. Nothing. Blacked out. But my thoughts before that was happening was something like, I shouldn't have gone out today. Body was going into shock and heart was slowing down really fast. What is this idiot doing? Back off truck. Why is my bike above me? Hello sheep. My heart stopped beating for 7 seconds while I was eating dinner in my hospital bed waiting to be discharged. I realized I was going to pass out and put my arm across my plate so I wouldn't fall face first into it. All I could think of was, this is gonna make a mess. Glad they took their time with the paperwork. Ended up walking out of there 7 days later with a pacemaker at the age of 46. Edit. Holy shit. Thanks for all the well wishes. I'm 57 and retired now. Still have a fib and can't do much of anything without becoming totally exhausted. Nothing seems to work. Now that I have the time, I don't have the energy to do much at all. Just gonna ride it out and call it a day. As I was getting the Heimlich, I remember thinking how embarrassing it would be to die at a Renaissance fair. Edit. It was the day before my 29th birthday, so I also remember being disappointed I wasn't going to make it to 30. Edit 2. Thank you all for the responses. It seems like choking at a Renaissance fair is actually pretty common. If anyone knows a cigar salesman that was working at Scarborough Fair 6 or so years ago, give him my thanks for saving me life. I almost died in a fiery explosion at my old job. My first thought was, I'm gonna look like such an idiot without eyebrows. Shit. Wasn't the car that hit me white? As I'm looking down at a car underneath me. I'd been hit hard enough I bounced up over the car that hit me and had enough airtime to clear the second one. Props to the driver of the third vehicle. He must have stood on the damned brakes the moment he saw me because he brought the cement truck to a stop before it got to me. Second time I was hit by a car as a pedestrian. I'm now much more careful crossing streets. Not that it's helped much. I seem to have a car magnet in my ass. That's it. As I looked at the surface of the water I couldn't reach. My throat feels weird. My gums are itchy. And blackness like a deep sleep. Woke up a bit later. Found out I was allergic to crab the hard way. God, why can't I breathe right now? Just wish I could breathe. Oh, I'm getting tired. Anaphylactic shock. Each time. What the fuck? Ow. Son of a bitch. Aw fuck, don't run me over. Me being run over by a car while on my motorcycle. Edit. 2 things. Firstly, it was a hit and run. They left me for dead in the middle of the road. Secondly, to everyone asking if there was permanent damage, yes. My short-term memory is a little funny some days because I slammed my face against the side of his car. I had a helmet on, but I still tasted that metal taste you get after you have a nasty head impact, which means I probably had mild bleeding in my skull somewhere. Also physically I got lucky in terms of not road rashing all that much because I was wearing gloves and a sweatshirt that was fairly baggy and the fleece more or less shredded away, so I didn't have to. I do have a permanent limp on my right side from when my hips impacted his car and then impacted the ground. And now I wear a knee brace on my right knee because it wants to twist around unnaturally when I turn. And I have to take ibuprofen every day before work or I can't function very well. I had no insurance, car or medical. So I just limped my ass to the nearest gas station. Bought a couple of beers so I could make my muscles relax. They were spasming out of control. And called my brother to come pick me and my bike up. After I could walk again, which took about 2 months. I actually fixed the bike back up and I still ride it to this day. Although now I don't ride on the weekends anymore because of retarded drunk people. I was in the process of being electrocuted, having been working all day atop a scissors lift. The electricians had left a 277-volt line live, and while I was standing and reaching while running the last low-voltage run of the job, I contacted their line. I saw the white light at the end of the tunnel. All I knew was throbbing and 60-cycle noise and the white light. My last thought was, I wonder if I can tell my knees to unlock. Obviously they did. Since I am here typing this. Severe electrical burns. Still here living. The life. Was run over by a bus last year. My thought when I went under the tires was, but it's a Wednesday. Hello. Have you ever had a headache that was so bad? I mean, like call your parents and ask them if you were still on the healthcare plan. Even though you live in Canada and they live in the USA. Yes. I've had this pain. I felt as if my head was going to implode. I was half right. I had a brain clot. Then bleed. So a stroke and aneurysm all at once. My last thought before I regained consciousness weeks later. I don't want to die in this shitty ground level apartment. Had a stroke last year and was taken to the ER by my brother. The last thing I remember was asking him to take a picture of me with his phone as I must look terrible. After I was admitted, I didn't remember anything other than dreams until late October. And days after I was admitted, when everything was a blank, they induced a coma so that my brain swelling would go down. And I was critical, so I presume I was pretty close to dying then. I thought about how I didn't buy enough pizzas from my favorite pizza place. It's pretty good. But thinking about pizza when you think you're dying is pretty depressing in retrospect. What was that bang sound? I should have cut that meatball in half. 3 times. Once almost drowning deep end of pool at 5. Once trapped under flipped ATV in a river. And once being shot at by a crazy old fuck who thought I was a deer. I thought of my mom crying every time. Who is holding me underwater? I almost passed out. I didn't even know the kid. I can't believe this is how I die. Drunk. Falling off a 30-foot cliff into about 2 feet of water at Lake Havasu. As on spring break. It just hurt really bad. Nearly was run over in a town square when a car decided to go through it. Instead of around it. And went onto the sidewalk. First and only thing to come out of my mouth to my friend next to me before we dove out of the way. Well, that's not good. I almost died on a mountain last month. The thoughts while I was free soloing the cliff were just. I would give anything to be at home safe. Well. Fuck. Car accident. I'm gonna die. Weirdly calmed. Mind went quiet. Everything slowed right the fuck down. Afterwards though. Mind screamed. For what it's worth, car accident 100 km per hour 270-degree spin in front of an 18-wheeler. Across 2 lanes. Down the embankment and slid between 2 concrete drainage pipes. Could have been hit by the truck. Could have rolled. Could have hit the pipes which would have crushed into me. I have something wrong with my health where medications are a hard fucking no for me. OD'd on normal dose of albuterol. OD'd on normal dose of promethazine. Some other fucked up occurrences I don't care to speak about. But anyway, when I OD'd on promethazine, my fever shot through the fucking roof. 105 to 106. And wouldn't go away. I was in and out of consciousness and my wife said I was talking in my sleep a lot. I legitimately, 100%, without a shred of doubt in my mind, thought I was in the middle of a war between us. Humans. And fucking elves. I was talking about how we had to split the house with them to prevent another war. Etc. My breathing was fucked up. Fever wouldn't go away. I couldn't get up. I couldn't actually sleep. Nothing. So, my last thoughts were, basically, hopefully the elves are cool splitting the kitchen cause we need to eat still. Really fucked up time. Honestly. Once with a boulder and once a motorcycle accident. Well, this is gonna hurt. I was stabbed in the neck by someone robbing my house. I totally thought I was going to die. I hate myself. But I begged the guy who stabbed me to stay because I didn't want to die alone. He said, sorry, and walked away. That fucking broke my heart. Thankfully he called 911 for me. I thought I was having a drug overdose. I just remember thinking how disappointed my mom was going to be with me. A little over 10 years ago I had the Widowmaker heart attack. I spent the first day in the hospital with a balloon pump assisting my heart to help me stay alive until they could perform the surgery the next day. They told my wife that my chances of surviving were only about 20%. I had the priest in. Family. The whole 9 yards. In the morning, as they wheeled me into the operating room, I was doing the Monty Python bit. And get the machine that goes ping. In case the administrator comes by. With the surgical nurse who was also a MP fan. The look on the surgeon's face was priceless, and I was chuckling as I went under. My last thoughts were, FEH. We got this. The surgeon later told me that I was the only patient in his entire career that came into his operating room laughing. But that my attitude may have been a large factor in my survival. They will never find me. Almost drowned in Hawaii in a riptide and no one noticed. I was 10. Thankfully I was a very strong swimmer and managed to swim out of it. But I was quite a ways out. The beach was very narrow, close in with rocks on each side. So I basically had to get pitted by a huge wave at the end to get through the last 20 yards. Crawled up on the beach. Literally exhausted. Got yelled at for staying out too long. Edit. As everyone says. Learn riptide and current safety. Don't fight it. And swim sideways if possible. Strongly consider PFDs if you are not a strong swimmer. That doubly applies in rivers, but that's for another day. Unfortunately I don't remember where this was. It was 1988 and I think it was a small hotel beach. Thanks for all the comments and upvotes. My first one over 250 upvotes. Edit 2. Please take your children as early as possible for swimming lessons. I learned when I was 3 or 4 and undoubtedly saved my own life several times by being a strong swimmer.